あのさ、好きだ。
Today we're going to be installing a quick release steering wheel. So I ordered these parts off of eBay. This is just a cheap $30 hub here. Looks identical to the NRG ones. We also have this another cheap eBay quick release adapter made by a company called VMS. This looked like about the thinnest one I could find, and I wanted to keep it pretty thin because I got a deeper dish steering wheel, so I didn't want to push it too close to me. And the NRG wheel I actually picked up off of Facebook Market for, I think it was 60 bucks. The first thing we did was disconnect the negative terminal on the battery. We'll let that sit for about 30 minutes. So the first thing you're going to want to do is remove these plastic covers. You'll have one here, one on this side, and one on the very bottom. Underneath those covers you'll find a T30 Torx screw. Removing these screws will release your airbag assembly. With those two side screws removed, your airbag assembly should just pop right off. Once you have the airbag assembly off, there's just two connectors you need to remove. You have this yellow one here that just pulls forward, and then you'll have a smaller black one here that you press in and pull out. Just like that. And that's your airbag assembly. We're also going to go ahead and unplug this connector here, and this other yellow one here for the cruise control. For this next part, I'm going to mark this bolt here to indicate where my up position is. I don't have a marker on hand, so I figured scratching it up with a little screwdriver would work just as good. With the steering wheel removed, I'm going to remove this plastic casing here. This is removed with 3 screws. You'll have one here, and then also one all the way down here. We're now going to remove these 3 screws here, which should take off the airbag switch. With the airbag control now removed, we're going to have to follow these wires all the way back underneath the dash and disconnect them. So those connectors were actually kind of difficult to get out. I suggest pulling them apart from this white clear plastic mount that they're stuck to. Pull them down from that, and it makes it much easier to disconnect them. So with all that stuff out of the way, you can now begin installing your hub. So what you're going to want to do is align these little notches with the little notches on your steering wheel here. I'm going to go ahead and put my center bolt back on, just hand tightened. Okay, so I tightened the hub down here in the back with this center bolt, and then I threw on the quick release adapter, just hand tightening each of these 6 bolts here just to kind of mock it up and see where we'd be at. With this VMS adapter, the way that it concaves in rather than comes out, mixed with the short hub here, I had to remove the electronic connectors for the horn in both adapters in order to get it to all fit. Let's throw this on for a mock-up real quick. See if I can do this with one hand. all locked in. Nothing's tight quite yet, so it'll still be a little loose. To remove the steering wheel, you press this button here, and you have a thumb grip down here like a camera lens. And you can see on the top it indicates when you turn it this way, it locks it. When you turn it to the left, it loosens it. So we're gonna go ahead and turn it. Steering wheel just pops right off. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten everything up, and then we'll put the plastic moldings back on and see how it drives. Be very careful because there are sharp edges on this hub here. I finished putting in the screws here to hold the receiver for the quick release onto the back of the steering wheel. When I'm tightening these screws, I like to work in opposite patterns. All right, everything feels good, so I'm gonna throw the wheel on and let's check it out. That's actually pretty easy to do with one hand. So this is it, the finished product. We got the hub, the quick release, and the NRG wheel. I'm gonna clean this mess up and then we'll take it for a drive. After taking it for a short drive, I really like the feeling of it. It's a little bit smaller of a diameter, so the turning is gonna be a little bit different as it was with the stock steering wheel. You do feel quite a bit more of the actual road, so any potholes, cracks, anything like that in the road, you're gonna feel a lot more through this steering wheel here. Any shake or wobble that you had on your steering wheel before, this steering wheel is gonna really enhance those feelings. It does feel quite a bit more aggressive when you're driving with a smaller wheel, but overall I really like the way this wheel looks, and I like that it's quick detach. I do feel like having a quick release steering wheel will be a little bit of a theft deterrent. I know a lot of people argue that if you have a quick release steering wheel, then it probably makes your car look more expensive to a thief. I've also heard stories of thieves using pliers and just wrapping around the hub and using it that way to steer. But let's be honest, it's not the 1980s anymore and we're not in Oakland, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. So I was reading a lot of reviews on this VMS quick release before I decided to buy it, and I ended up buying it because to me it looked identical to the NRG thin quick release, so I figured it's probably just the same thing, just rebranded. But I did read some reviews about this VMS one specifically that it's kind of difficult to get the wheel off. My quick release did come pre-greased, so perhaps that has something to do with it, but this is very easy to remove. I can easily do it with one hand. You just pop it right off, and I can put it right back on with just one hand. This is a really sturdy setup. There's almost no wiggle. There's zero play at all. So here it is, the finished product. We got the hub, the quick release, and the steering wheel. Also, I didn't film, but before I installed the steering wheel, I installed my bubble shift knob. Pretty happy with the way it turned out. It looks really good. I like that the colors of the bubble shift knob match the center of the steering wheel here. With all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.